Okay, this will be a fun video. I'm going to grab some wine here. But the wave function, when you're observing a particle, quantum physics tells us that, well, just to go to a light particle, you observe a photon. You don't know where it is. The photon is somewhere. But as soon as you measure it, the wave collapses. The wave function is gone. And what does that mean? People take that to the degree that they say, well, that means when you're looking at things, things appear. When you don't look at things, they disappear. There's something going on. What I want to just talk about right here is that wave function does not disappear. And you know what? You have to be careful with their verbiage. They're saying the right thing, but you're not understanding it the right way. Okay. Sean Carroll, do you know him? Physicist. I heard him one time, this is probably a year and a half ago, say the wave function does not collapse. And I remember the double slit experiment and all that. I'm not going to do that here. It's been done all over on YouTube much better than I could. I don't have the graphics or anything like that. All I could do is explain it. But if you know the double slit experiment, then you know what we're talking about here. So this is a little bit more advanced. I'm not going to get into the basics of all of that. But here's what I want to say. If you take that light wave, that proton, and observe it, it does not collapse the wave. But let's build up to it. First, let's figure out what's really happening to begin with. Okay, what I want to do is make an analogous example. What I want to do is everybody just pretend for a second that we all live in the ocean. You know, we're all Aquaman, Aqua people, something like that. And as we're there, we learn things like this water that we're living in, it moves in waves. It's just constantly moving in waves. That's a weird thing. And we keep learning and learning and learning, and somebody finally looks at it close enough and goes, do you know what? This is not one big ocean. What this is trillions and billions and gazillions of tiny drops of water that are all put together, actually. It's not one ocean. It's a bunch of drops of water together that make an ocean. This is a bunch of little things here. Let's take one out and look at it. So these are all moving in waves. The water drops, they're moving in waves. You isolate one, pull it out. Yeah, let's look at it. This is no longer moving in waves. You pulled it out of its medium. No, it didn't stop moving. The waves didn't collapse. Look in the background. What's happening to all the other drops? Nothing. They're still doing exactly what they're supposed to do, moving in waves. You've only isolated one out. And for the moment that one's isolated out, you've taken it out of where it belongs, in the waves. That's why it's not moving in waves anymore. Your observation didn't collapse the wave field. The fact that you pulled it out of its waves to look at it by isolating, stopping it, making it stationary, that is what collapsed the wave field. But the wave field isn't collapsed. The wave field is only collapsed for that particle. Only for that particle. Then, why would it move in waves if you fire it off again? You take that one, I got one little here, and I fire it through there, and it goes through the double slit, and it's still moving in waves. Why not? What is a photon? A photon is a particle of light that moves in waves. It moves in waves. Everything at the quantum level moves in waves. Energy, all of it is in waves. If it's not in waves and it's flat, it's dead. It's not there. Frequencies, all of that stuff has to be shifting above ground level, above zero, positive, and then negative. Positive, negative, continually going back and forth through zero. This light particle, if it goes to zero, it's dead. It's gone. It cannot. When you start moving again, it's right back into the energy field. It's going back into waves. It cannot move unless it's in waves. You just put it right back into the stream. It's like releasing that drop of water back into the trying to throw it someplace and go, damn, it's still in waves. Yeah, it never came out of the ocean. Only that time frame that you had it isolated was it there. Okay, so that's what's really going on. Does that make sense? If I covered it all? You're not collapsing a wave function. Imagine somebody saying, okay, here, I got a piece of light that's coming from that star way out there over there. I got a light. I'm going to take a photon from that and I'm going to examine it. If you collapse the wave function when you're examining that, shouldn't that star go dark until you're done? Then, okay, let it go. Oh, phew, yeah, the wave function is returned again. All you've done is stop the wave function for one photon. not the entire group of photons. That sun doesn't go out. The photons are bazillion, that's so many of them, and they're all moving in the same wave pattern, in the same wave, in the same ocean, in the same frequency of energy that is light. They're all right there. And if you take one out, I collapse the wave function by observing it. No, you collapse the wave function by pulling it out of the waves. Now you're looking at it, and when you let it go, you put it back into the waves. We just think, oh, I'm so freaking powerful. I caused this to happen. You know what? No, that's what quantum physicists will not tell you, that the wave function collapsing means that everything disappears or it collapses or anything like that. It just means for the particle that you're looking at. Here's another analogy. It may not be the best one, but local area, radio station transmitting, whatever your favorite song is. Okay, here's a source of energy being transmitted, and it's energy that you can pay attention to. With nobody observing it, no radios on, nobody tuned into it, it's there. However, at any time somebody turns on, I got it. But if one person turns on, it doesn't collapse the wave field, does it? It's like you could have millions of people within range all tune into that same one, and they all did it. Yet from a measurement perspective, what you would say in a case like this is, now that this RF energy out there, now that I'm interacting with it and I'm hearing my music, it's been stripped out of the modulation, and now I'm hearing my song again. It doesn't collapse the wave function, even though it collapses it for you. While you're observing it, what are you doing? You're listening to your song. That's the collapsing of the wave function. However, somebody else somewhere else can be listening to the same song. Thousands, millions. The people can turn off and turn back on. That wave function doesn't change based on the listener or the observer. Only at that moment where you yourself are taking a part of that wave and observing it, does that collapse. In this case, we're talking about modulation. Again, not the best analogy, but similar sort of things. All of these continue to scale off of each other. At no time does it suddenly revert into, okay, now I'm the magic man. Now the things that I observe, I'm bringing things into. Yeah, the people that are all those. There's a lot of people that are kind of going into the foil hat physics, and I'm not a physicist, but I am a pragmatic thinker, a realist, somebody that thinks things through and understands things before moving on, and not just goes, oh, I like the sounds of that, let's follow. There's a point where you have to work these things through in your own mind. And I've always had this capacity to understand complex things because I'm intelligent, but I was never educated. So I'm able to, in order for me to understand them, I have to convert them from, what are you saying, Mr. Scientist, and put it into my terms. So it's simple words for me, because despite the fact that I am intelligent, my upbringing was such that I had to do something different in life. I was not able to focus on anything other than survival for a long time. And now, as you're curious and interested in trying to learn things, you're just going out and glomming all over the place. So you still have the intelligent mind, you're still learning, but you have to put it into layman's terms. So I'm a pretty good go-between as far as some of that complicated stuff. I'd have to study it. But in a case like this, I did not understand that at first. After you think it through and you work it through, you begin to realize, okay, that's exactly what it is. I also have a strong electronics and RF background. So these things are not that foreign to me. Anyway, okay, questions, comments, I'd love to hear them. No, the wave function does not collapse. And the people that are all that, things disappear when you look at them, don't look at them, Donald Hoffman, all that kind of stuff. At some point you reason through, I can understand you're trying to figure things out, but some of the things you go with are, they're theories at best, but if you think it through in a mind experiment, you kind of find holes in them. The double slit experiment. When you observe a photon, that means the field collapses. That means that we interact with things. That means when you don't look at the moon, it disappears or turns into an icon. Holy crap, no. No. Yeah, quantum physics is something a lot different than standard physics, the standard model of physics. But even then, when a wave function collapses, it's not the entire source wave. It is just the wave function of that one particle that you're observing. And only for the duration of your observation. When you release it, it goes back into the energy field. Doesn't matter how far you want to shoot it. If you shoot it and it doesn't go up and down, it's dead. It won't get there. It has to move in waves or it's gone. There you go. All right. Questions, comments? I'd love to hear them. See you in the next video.